on Australia's business channel. This is Mediaweek.
Hello, welcome to the program. Ahead, Foxtel earnings and subscriber numbers out, and an update too on the Ozstar integration. We'll be focusing on the big restructures taking place in the subscription TV industry with Foxtel's Director of Programming, Ross Crowley, and the CEO of TV1, Peter Hudson, joining us. Plus, we'll have the latest radio ratings and we'll ask if social media is a minefield or mecca for companies. But first to News Limited, which posted a $1.5 billion loss for the fourth quarter due to a near $3 billion write-down, primarily of its publishing businesses and most significantly the business in Australia. Our co-host James Manning, the editor and publisher of Mediaweek, is here to take us through it. James, this all comes, of course, as News Corp splits its film and TV business from its publishing business. And interesting on the conference call, no Rupert Murdoch again.
Yeah, no, it's I tuned in this morning and it just wasn't a very exciting conference call, I'm afraid. I guess that ever since Rupert's gone, they've sort of been going through the motions. Because I guess Rupert set a high bar. He'd often break news. There'd be interesting commentary which just disappeared, I guess, as they, playing it a bit safer these days. Special guest though, James Murdoch turned up this morning. So I mean, we've talked a bit about this in the past. People were writing him off. We thought, no, look, he'll probably stay in the background, and there's still definitely a place for him in the company. And it seems they've pushed him out today, and it's already created quite a bit of commentary. The figures themselves are. Fourth quarter not really good at all. Actually, they reported a loss overall the year. The trend continued, speeded up a little bit at the publishing under a lot of pressure, which makes you wonder that when the company splits, that sort of the publishing half isn't going to be very exciting a proposition for investors. But still good business throwing through the cable TV business and the free-to-air channels in the US.
Well, just on the publishing business, we've got some of what Chase Carey had to say about that in that conference call a little earlier.
Our publishing businesses are clearly in a restructuring mode. Overall, this segment is expected to be essentially flat in 2013.
Actually, sorry, we don't have that for you. Let's, though, get the market's reaction to the News Corp numbers. And we're joined now by Chris Weston from IG Markets in Melbourne. Chris, yeah, what did you make of the numbers?
Well, I think I don't think they were too bad, to be honest, Bridie. I think that most of the numbers were in line. If you look at the adjusted EPS at 32 cents, it's slap bang in the minds of exactly where analysts were calling it for. I think if the segmental breakdown was largely as expected. The ad revenue side of things, through their cable was very, very strong, up 18%, domestically 5%. So clearly that part of the business is still working quite well. I mean, I think that the situation with the company now is, in terms of the investment case, is how things are going to go forward. They've talked about earnings per share growth of low single digits high single digits to low double digits. The market at the moment is expected earnings to somewhere about 11%. So the market's positioned at the top end of that. So perhaps a little bit of disappointment, but I think most analysts would say that was very conservative guidance by the company. They've also talked about their run rate of their buyback, which we've talked about before, being around about 3 to 4 billion. Now the market's positioned for about 5 billion. So there might be some really very modest downgrades in terms of earnings per share because of that less aggressive buyback, so to speak. But yeah, I thought the numbers were okay. A big write-down, as we know, but that's been largely flagged. But the EPS at 32 cents was in line with the expectation. But stocks had a very, very big run, 26% year to date, and an in-line number, unfortunately, just isn't going to cut the mustard with this. Hence why it's down 3% today.
Chris, also Telstra's annual numbers out. As we know, it's got a lot of media business. What did it have to say at its annual briefing?
I think these were pretty solid numbers. Again, very much the same situation where you've got these defensive-orientated companies doing very well in recent times. And again, this result from a revenue perspective, which was up 1%, from an EBITDA, from an operating income area, dividend, all very much in line with expectations. But a very solid result. And I think you also got to look at 2013 guidance. They're going to look at low single-digit operating income guidance. So it's about 3%. That's in line with what the market was looking for. The mobile business is ticking along very well. You know, they're winning market share in all divisions at the moment, and they were going to see, as I say, a very solid year for next year. But it's an inline number for a company that's significantly outperformed the market. Going to cut the mustard, and I don't think it is. I think people are moving their money out of this stock today and into more sort of aggressive, growth-orientated stocks like Rio. Hence why the stock's down about 2-3%. But actually, I thought it was a pretty good result. But just in line in a company that's done so well isn't going to shoot the lights out, I'm afraid.
Chris, great to get your update on all of that. Thanks. Well, Foxtel, as we know, 50% owned by Telstra, has reported its annual earnings grew by 8.5% to almost $600 million. And it says growth in total subscribers was subdued, up 1.3% to 1.68 million, but says that it's well positioned to grow following the acquisition of Ozstar in May. Well, for more on the outlook for the subscription TV sector, we're joined now by Foxtel's Director of Programming, Ross Crowley, and the CEO of TV1, Peter Hudson. Great to have you both here. And such a huge time of change for subscription TV, as we know. We've seen the Ozstar integration, hearing today solid progress being made there. What do you think, Ross? I mean, is it going to help boost subscriber numbers, do you think?
Look, it's been spectacularly fast. I mean, we talked briefly before. It was executed with military precision. We're 10 weeks in now. Everybody in the company knows where they're going to be in future. There's no doubt left. We've merged, you know, 3 quite diverse cultures together, and I think we're well placed for what we need to do next. Really.
We've got you both in today because there's 2 significant channel sort of rebrands, if you like, but you can tell me, are they that significant? There's sort of a rebranding for one of the channels you look after, and also your sort of science fiction channel. So let's start with you, Peter. What's happening there?
Well, on the 23rd of July, we refreshed the on-air look of the brand. We launched back in 2006, and after 6 years on air, we felt that it needed a refresh to re-energise the genre. It's an exciting genre, and we've got lots of great content to go on the channel. And it was time. We went back to 2010. We started to investigate the brand and the reaction of the brand, and also to align with the changing environment, the competitive environment that's been with the launch of the digital free-to-air channels and also the expansion of channels on Foxtel. So we were reacting to that largely.
You've gone from calling it sci-fi to SF. Why didn't sci-fi reflect?
SF's a well-known moniker for the sci-fi fans, so it's not unfamiliar for them. It makes it, for us, for a brand on air, it makes the logo more compact and more manoeuvrable, allows us to move it into social media spaces as well. So lots of different elements, but again, it gives people, it doesn't alienate the real fans, but it does encourage new subscribers and new viewers to come to the channel.
So Ross, do brands targeted to maybe younger demos, do they have a lifespan, almost regardless of how well the channel does, even if it's just renaming it?
Look, absolutely. I think you'd certainly, if you look at what we do with our younger brands like Fox 8 and Arena and so on, it's almost generational. You know, we as older viewers take 10 or 15 or 20 years to change our habits. Younger viewers pass through in 5 years. A 12-year-old doesn't watch what a 19-year-old watches, and so that generational change, especially with younger, I mean, it's you have to. Otherwise, you know, kids will not watch, you know, My Big Brother's Disney.
And that's old part of the reason you're changing W?
Well, W's not for kids. No, W is actually a different beast altogether. It's a new style of channel that we can do in Australia because of the way the industry is changing. And we talked a little bit before about how reality has triggered drama producers to kick up their game. That's what they're doing, right? So quality writers, all of that, maybe not stretching it for 40 weeks, maybe pulling it into 10 or 12 weeks. You're getting film producers coming into TV, and we've now got to a point where we can set up a channel that runs purely on quality curated drama content, and we've moved off, you know, the soaps, which are great for certain people. They're elsewhere, but the quality is just all day, every day.
So where will we see Soho then, and what are some of the highlights?
Okay, so Soho launches for us on August 20, and the headline show, of course, is HBO's Newsroom. we're thrilled to get that. It's if you're in the industry, you'll love it. If you love Aaron Sorkin, you'll love it. It is if you've ever watched a news channel like Sky or CNN or Fox News, you'll love to see what happens behind the scenes, and it's a ripping great piece of TV, frankly. So we'll do that. There's a couple of shows that will come across from the old W. Damages, the final season of Damages, Boss, the new Kelsey Grammer one as the Mayor of Chicago. They will come through. And then there's a slate of shows which are coming, but I can't tell you today because part of the thing is these things, we're going to be so hot off air that we're turning them around within weeks of their original broadcast, in some cases within days. And so there's a couple we haven't yet, we're not quite yet ready to announce.
Well, maybe you'll answer our questions, Peter.
I'll try.
Now, I said, SF, has it got? It's almost a reality show as one of your new series, I think. And just having the name SF, does that almost let you bring in other things too that maybe aren't so hardcore science fiction?
It is, but the sci-fi genre is so broad that we can go to lots of places. We can present it as a romantic programs, comedy programs, dramatic programs. And the first one that'll launch on the 17th of August is Todd and the Book of Pure Evil. And again, it's a teen college sci-fi comedy. And it's, as the name suggests, it's about a book, and it's all about each episode will feature an evil spell, and that'll resolve each episode. So it's a fun piece of content. You know, again, set against that, we're currently running the classic Doctor Who series. So going back to the great doctors of Tom Baker and John Pertwee. So there are a number of you can go to lots of spaces in sci-fi within the genre, and I think the SF brand allows it to do that.
I just want to ask you too, because you know you see Modern Family and Law and Order amongst the most watched shows, but I mean obviously they're also on free to air as well. I mean, how important is exclusive programming really?
I think there's a place for both. Certainly a mix of exclusive programs. For SF, we've got a lot of exclusive programs, or first on Foxtel, and that contributes to a lot of our viewing. But we also have great success, and again focusing on SF, with the Stargates and the Star Trek franchise have been enormously successful. Just in the last 12 months, as I mentioned, we brought back in Doctor Who, and that's been one of the highest performing or highest viewed programs on the channel. So there's a real mix, and if you move to TV1, you know we've got the three top crime franchises in the world all in one place, and at pretty much any time of day you can grab one of the great pieces of drama. And from a free-to-air perspective, not everybody watches us on free-to-air. We've got people who come up to me still today and say they're watching Seinfeld for the first time. So there's opportunity.
Okay, now News Corp's Chase Carey said this morning in the financial talk with analysts that News Corp continues to experiment with delivering content via different platforms. You've just been part of Foxtel's had what looks like a very successful experiment with their delivering the Olympic channels via the iPads. So why can't we watch Soho? Why can't we watch TV1 on our iPads? And could that be happening soon?
I think, to be fair, look, the Olympics app has been fantastic. It's been a standout success in the App Store. It's been fantastic for us. The response online has been spectacular, and it's proved that Australian bandwidth can handle streamed TV, which is kind of one of the things we wanted to prove. Clearly, the infrastructure is there. One of the things I think that everyone will look into as soon as the Olympics have finished, and you know that's a huge operation, is right, what next? And I think you know the answers will come pretty quickly.
Chase Carey also said that looking at the impact of the internet and obviously the availability of video entertainment on other places, that it's driving demand for premium content, and that the value of a hit is really going to continue to grow.